Assalamualaikum, good morning. All my brothers and my sisters, this is True Love Channel that is always inviting you to the truth, to be more intelligent, more genius, smarter, and better. As I have been talking about that you and I are brothers and sisters, descended by our ancestors Adam and Eve. If you don't believe this, then you have to study the last holy book descended by our God, Allah, that is the Quran. The Quran is the holy book for everybody, every man. Not only for Arabians, but for people in 5 continents. From America, from Europe, from Africa, from Asia, from Australia. So anywhere you are, as long as you are mentioned or called as the human beings, or you call yourself as human being, as man, as a woman, then you have to read this Holy Quran. It's the last holy book descended for mankind, all mankind into this world, for not only Arabian. Once again, this Holy Quran is not for only Arabian or Arabian only. But remember that this book is written for all mankind, all men and women who want to be back to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the God, the only one God, have to read the Quran. Why the Quran is written in Arabic? Actually, the Quran was not written when our Prophet Muhammad was still alive, because our Prophet Muhammad read the Quran exactly orally from his tongue, because he could memorize all the content of the Quran. So that's why our Prophet Muhammad could not read, could not write, could not read and could not write, could not write and could not read. If you think that this is the writing, the handwriting of our Prophet Muhammad, then you are wrong, because our Prophet Muhammad could not read and could not write. So who wrote the Quran? The Quran was written when Abu Bakr Siddiq was the leader after the death of our Prophet Muhammad. And then Umar proposed that they had to write down the memorized Quran content. And that's why they tried to make a discussion, mushawarah or meeting, gathering, whether or not the Quran that has been kept in the chest, in the breast of the Muslim people have to be written. And finally the decision came up that the Quran should be written and had to be written. Why? Because slowly, gradually, man will die. If all the people who had memorized the Quran, the Holy Quran died, for example, then what was left? Where would be the Quran then? At that time, finally, the discussion came to a conclusion that yes, the Quran should be written, and Muslim people who had already memorized gathered together, and then when man had to be the writer of the Quran. So I'd like you to read this Holy Quran. And the language is Arabic. Why it's Arabic? Because Arabic is the most beautiful language in the world. And allegedly that the pious people studied that the Arabic language is the very, very simple language that has very deep in meaning and beautiful in rhythm, in oral sound, So you can see. Listen to me. I will read only one surat, okay? How beautiful the Quran is. My voice is not so good as other people who can read wonderfully, beautifully, as well as they can. But I try to do my best, okay? Listen to me. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Malik Yaumiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. So the surah is the beginning, the beginning the Quran of the Quran, and it is said as the conclusion the whole Quran, because in the surah Al-Fatiha contains the praises of Allah, and then also the content of the begging of mankind to the God, to Allah, about this life. And this life consisting only three people who follow the track of the prophets and messengers of God, are called by Allah as the believers, and then people who deny, who reject the lesson of Allah through our Prophet Muhammad, are called as the unbelievers. And then the other people who believe but they don't want to do good deeds, and they will be punished. So there are actually only two groups, believers and unbelievers. So I'd like you to think about this, and then to read, to study, and then to ask the content if you don't understand, for example, about the content of the Quran. And who to ask, then you have to ask people who exactly know, understand, and they are Muslim people who are called as the pious or godly people. They study the Quran, and then they apply in their life, and then they also try to teach other people about the content of the Quran. Why? Because this is the job of Muslim people who have already known, who have already understood about the content of the Quran and the life, and then they have to tell. Why? Because Muhammad was the last prophet, and he had already died, and this job should be done by Muslim people. Well, my brothers and my sisters, I'm inviting again from the True Love channel, that is always inviting you to be more intelligent, more genius, smarter, and better. And I'm talking with love, with peace, because this is our job, telling one another, advising one another about the truth, so that we can go back to the heaven, as many people as possible. And we try to discuss again. If, for example, you meet me and I meet you in person, and then we can talk long while eating, while drinking tea or hot coffee and Indonesian food. Well, this is a nice life, When my brothers and my sisters come to Indonesia, come to people who have already known about the Muslim, about Islam, about the religion, about the last book, the last holy book descended by Allah through our Prophet Muhammad, who could not read, could not write, but he had already left the Quran and the Hadith. Well, my brothers and my sisters, I will see you again on the next True Love channel, another video that is full of love and peace. I'm always loving you. See you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Assalamualaikum.